Hey everyone, welcome back to the next episode of Rabbit Hole. My name is William Crandall. Joined with me, as always, by my friends Kyle Gilroy and Ray McClintock. Before we go in, I want to make a brief announcement. Our former guest, Nathan Cubes, has had a lot of responsibilities coming up and a little bit of time on his shoulders these days. So he'll be taking a step back from joining us on our regular podcast, but he'll still be contributing in other ways, and he might pop in for a special guest appearance every now and then. But for the time being, it'll more than likely just be the three of us moving forward. So just wanted to get that out of the way.
He's got weak shoulders, you know?
He's
very frail. He's a brittle man.
I don't know why.
All right, let's take this entire hour and a half and just talk about
just roast Nathan for an hour.
Yeah.
No.
This is our celebrity roast of Nathan Cubes.
Yeah.
No. You know how there's always like a bottle episode of TV where they like have a highlight reel of like this is what happened last season.
Yes.
This is episode 4. So now we're gonna review the most requested moments of Rabbit Hole.
What we can do is like what South Park did with Chef. How they like took snippets of his voice from like all the previous episodes and mashed them together. I'll take all of Nathan's clips and just form sentences.
Oh my God, we should get his commercial recording and try to like snip it together.
I have the software.
So with that and recording, I can send you the recordings from our 4 episodes, and you can just snip something together about why this is how we kill him off from the show.
It's our chef episode.
Yeah, this is the chef.
Every time he talks about the military, then we'll just put that in order.
Yeah.
Synchronize it.
Oh, that'd be great.
We'll splice together him in even like one word, military.
Military. Oh God.
Oh man.
Shoot.
Some good stuff.
That's so ridiculous.
Did you fix your tire, Will? I meant not Will, Ray.
Will?
Right?
Oh, I did, man. Dude,
nobody cares about my tires.
It's like we were saying, yeah, no one cares about your tires, man. You pack an umbrella, it's not gonna rain. You don't pack one, it's gonna rain. You know?
These are facts.
These are facts. This is Murphy's Law, man.
This is the way.
So you didn't pack an extra tire.
I didn't pack a tube and ended up pushing out. So
oh my goodness.
Yep. There we are.
This is why we're uploading an episode a day late. But last night Kyle and I did record about 45 minutes of shenanigans. There's just no other way to put it. It was rambling, it was obnoxious, that none of it made sense. I don't think I'm gonna upload. I think I'm gonna hold on to that one.
Yeah, just save that, man.
Yeah.
Just play it at your funeral. Be like, this is my dad.
This is my dad. That'll be the only thing I pass down to my son is a 45-minute recording of me.
It's so weird to think about though, like how much material we have of our lives now, how much stuff we record. Like in the past, it's like, oh, what was our great grandparent? You know, what was so and so like? And it's like, well, we have these couple Polaroids, you know. And it's just like
random, just a few black and white photos.
Yeah, and I mean, I guess they could, you could find their journal or something and it'd be somewhat similar, but it's different than like someone will be able to. I mean, I'm assuming that civilization stays intact. Like this stuff will be drifting around for quite a while, you know?
Yeah.
As long as the internet. How do you take down the internet? I'm curious. I don't even know.
Ooh.
You know? Like, are the servers just always running or like?
They've got to be. So like when I was doing my first internship in college, one of my intern mates and another like coworker at the company were like really good at like internet stalking and Facebook stalking. And like I had deleted my MySpace like
worthwhile skill
prior.
Yeah,
I know, right? A very worthwhile skill. Well, it was something in politics. Who knows what's going on?
Yeah.
But that is just a skill that they pride themselves on. And so there's one day, there's 2 females, and they come to my office with old photos of me from my MySpace page, which I had deleted like 6 to 7 years prior. And they just somehow did some sleuthing and found random old photos of me. I
want those photos.
I feel like
don't you have jobs? Like,
I feel like the friggin' Mission Impossible theme song. Do do
Yeah.
Your mission, so you choose to accept it, is to find old photos from 7 years
Of Will Crandall.
of Will Crandall. This
I mean,
laptop will self-destruct.
I have the. I took a photo. I took a photo of the photo of you that you had in your office from what your Greek life days.
No.
Yeah.
It
Oh,
had like that crazy flow.
Oh, the orientation
That flow
photo.
was dirty.
That's what it was. It was my orientation photo.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
I took that and I was like, I never know when I'm gonna need to meme this. So this is like, just I'm building up my repertoire. There you go.
Repertoire.
Repertoire. Ray,
Repertoire.
this seems like a good time to bring this up, but blackmail's a felony.
Blackmail.
Blackmail's a felony.
Well,
Just wait.
no.
And
Just
now,
wait
just
till
wait,
your
man.
funeral.
and we also have this recording, so that makes it premeditated, which is also you're just stacking it on. You're just
I am, man.
shooting
I'll
yourself.
figure out a way to just like zap only this video off like the interwebs.
It's just like
It can be
static.
done.
It just
Yeah.
slices right to the next topic. You're just like, no.
It's like the warped VHS. What are you drinking today?
I am drinking Yingling,
Oh, nice.
America's oldest brewery.
Dude,
Yeah.
tell them how much you bought that for.
Oh, so I got a 12-pack of bottled Yingling for $10.
From America's oldest brewery.
Yeah. Well,
Wow.
the Yingling Brewery is America's oldest, like, continually active
Yeah.
brewery.
Yeah.
It's not the oldest American-owned brewery anymore. I don't think it's technically an American company anymore. I think it was bought up by like Anheuser or some random thing. I would need to
Figures.
fact check
Yeah.
on that. But the brewery where the beer is made is still the oldest brewery in America.
Interesting.
And of
Huh.
course, I didn't close my messages, so that ding is going to be.
Wow, dude. Seriously?
I know. I saw.
I'm
But so
weird
my
and
uncle was in
judgy right now.
town, and he's retired military, and so I'm in Connecticut now, near the coast, and there's a naval base, and he wanted to go to what is it called, Kyle? NEX,
Yeah, the Navy Exchange.
Naval Exchange.
Oh yeah.
It's like a store. Dude, we went onto the base. It's like it's
Yeah.
like a college campus. There was dorms. There was a field. Like
Yeah.
it felt just like that college like campus atmosphere, but like for military. So that was kind of cool. And so he went in, and I guess he was looking for something, but it was like a legit grocery store and market.
Mhm.
It was like a smaller Walmart, and everything was like tax free and semi reduced price. And so I didn't need anything, but then I saw this for the price, and I was like, well, I'm
losing money by not buying this.
I'm
Yeah.
leaving money
Wow.
on the table.
We'll said the same thing
I
yesterday.
did
Yeah.
yesterday at the exact.
Oh, it's my.
I'm
That's, I
literally
think.
like they're ripping me off if I leave without giving them my money.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's Jim Gaffigan's thing where he's like, you go to McDonald's and you're like ordering off the dollar menu. He's like, God, I'm like it'd be a shame if I, lost money not buying
Yeah.
these. We've got to get 30.
Yeah.
All I
Any
remember
other- you go to any other restaurant, a salad is
okay.
like $25. You go to McDonald's, it's 5 burgers for a nickel.
I just had
Oh,
Subway too, and all I could think of when I was ordering the tuna was him talking about the tuna water at the bottom of the bag. Just like, God, it's so
They
right.
ladle
Yeah.
on the tuna.
It's like they're always so happy, and he's like, God, I go in there and I have a psychopath making my sub.
Oh, that's such a good bit. Oh, dude, Jim Gaffigan is so good for not only how dry his humor is, but also how
Yeah.
like family friendly.
Well, his wife writes his material.
What?
Did they
Do you
write
know that?
They write together.
She's the funny one?
No, I'm pretty sure his wife does most of the writing.
Really?
Like
Oh,
straight
man.
up, she does most of the writing,
Man,
but
that's the
he's
world
like
we
the
live in.
face.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
the world we live in today, where the male has to be the face of the comedy.
Damn us.
Hate it. Women are funny too. God,
Oh, I don't know. I mean, his delivery, that's
it's spot
half
on.
of it,
It's spot
Yeah,
on.
he's
If
just
you
got
like-
the timing.
Since we're going down this rabbit hole already, if you like Jim Gaffigan, have you heard the comedian Todd Barry?
Mm-mm.
He's a nut. Him and Jim Gaffigan are very similar, where it's very, very dry and perfect timing.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I want to do one of his bits, but I would butcher it because I would not be able to do it justice. Like it just would not come out right. So yeah, go to
Yeah.
Netflix. He has
You
one
should try
special.
so that the fans have something to laugh at.
No, that's
No.
not gonna happen. But I will.
That's how we go viral. Is Will's
It's me trying to emulate a joke and fall very
It's
flat.
like it's over TikTok and everything next day.
Oh man, no. So he has one special on Netflix. It's called Spicy Honey, I think.
Spicy honey.
It's funny. Public endorsement for Todd Berry. He's an absolutely hilarious comedian.
That reminds me of Chinese food. I don't know why spicy
Double
honey
D's, man. Double
just
D's.
with Chinese food.
Oh my goodness.
I wish we had good China. Have you been up to Rice in Crested Butte, Kyle?
I did. I got to go once.
Yeah, you went with us. That's right, Kyle. If you like Chinese food.
No, I was gonna say we tried to go that one time with Doug, but the line was like an hour wait. I got to go a separate time.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Yeah.
You know, I know other people, Ray.
No, you don't, Will. No.
Have you been to Rice in CB?
No.
I'm pretty sure. I mean, I don't even know if it's open right now, just because COVID. But
why do they call it Rice? I think that's very.
It's RY.
Yeah,
RY.
It's actually very hip and pretentious way of spelling it.
Yeah,
R-Y.
it is. So it's like gourmet Chinese food, though.
It is. It really is. But it's a little pricey, but
it is.
It's high quality. The food is amazing, and the portions are ridiculous. Like you're getting your money's worth, and it's delicious.
Ava refuses to go again, though.
She did have a really bad experience.
We both got sick, man. Actually, it was my brother, her, myself, and then I think we went with Doug. Doug's always around for Rice trips.
Of course.
Yeah, that's just he lives there. You know, just like Rice. Doug pops up.
Rice.
Let's go. Let's do this.
Yeah. But yeah, no, we were that was one of those moments where you ate and then like an hour later you're like, oh God.
So Ray, did you want to share the good news?
Oh yeah, I've beaten the COVID job market.
Yes.
I don't want to jinx myself because I don't have it locked in stone yet, but I'll be working up at knock on wood. I'll be working at Elevation Resorts as security. Be overseeing.
So if any assassins are out there,
yes,
that's where Ray works.
Yeah, I'm ready to go, man.
You don't want to take this guy on. He does jujitsu.
Yeah, and karate and wrestling.
You know what
yoga.
dude? Okay, so real quick ADD side story. You know what I found out about my uncle the other day? He's a black belt in Taekwondo, and he learned in Korea.
Really?
Yeah.
Taekwondo is the history behind it is fascinating. Like some of those kicks, they were literally like back in the day, you used to like kick people off of horses.
Really?
Yeah.
Intense. I know, really intense.
Could you imagine someone's charging at you on a horse and you just like jump up in the air and like side thrust kick them off a horse?
What kind of Shaolin monk bullshit is that?
I don't know. I'm down for it though, man.
How is that even possible?
Like some documentary said that Bruce Lee used to kick like light poles. Like,
really?
Like
just like roundhouse.
Yeah.
I mean, that dude was absolutely insane. He also had one leg that was like 3 inches shorter than the other.
Seriously?
Like his whole fighting style was based around his short leg. Yeah.
Wow.
I know, which is really cool. Yeah.
That's technical, man.
It is.
That's great.
Okay, speaking of Bruce Lee, favorite video, like
we're going
his philosophy
deep down the rabbit hole.
You know, Jeet Kune Do, it's all very cool. But then you get into like the new modded Bruce Lee videos where he has nunchuck lightsabers, and it's just like, have you guys seen those? And it's like,
yes,
it's so funny.
It's like, why? I needed that merger of Bruce Lee and Star Wars. Like my life is complete now.
We've had space monks as the Jedi, but now we need space ninjas.
Yeah.
Yes.
They should do the whole CGI trick again and like not only have Princess Leia back in the next Star Wars, but also
Bruce Lee.
Bruce Lee from Earth. Yeah. Star Wars finds the Milky Way.
Specifically from Earth.
Yeah.
I just need to make Star Wars canon.
Hell yeah.
Like,
dude, and then Bruce Lee could just come out and be like water, my friend. He's just like,
the force is one with you. It's like water. It's ever.
It's like water.
Oh my goodness. Man. Well, Ray, I'm super happy for you, man. It has definitely been a rough job market
for us, man.
Going along.
Yeah,
And I
no,
was
that.
go ahead.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say the job market is horrendous right now. You
Yeah,
know,
especially
I
for
mean,
higher ed, which yeah,
I've given up on higher ed, man.
don't
Like
give up, man.
at least in the short term. Like,
Yeah,
I mean,
probably
I've
spring
just got.
semester coming around. It might be a little.
That's what I'm probably gonna start
Mm.
applying to, like,
Yeah,
education jobs again. But I mean, even the big schools, it's just. Well, I mean, you look at COVID cases right now.
yeah.
I mean, Houston's ICC was at 90% capacity
Wow.
today. So yeah, so I mean, we're seeing this, like, I mean, we haven't even finished the first wave. That's
No.
what people are
Yeah.
saying is, like, you look at the graph and we're like up here, and then there's just a little drop, and now we're just launching back up. So we're at like March levels of infection rate still, which yeah, it's gonna be a minute, I think, before schools are hiring. So
Well, did you
Darn
see
it.
North Carolina Governor Cooper has now mandated masks have to
Hmm,
be on at all time, and it's like you'll be penalized. Like you can get a
yeah,
citation
Mhm.
if you're not wearing a mask.
no,
That's
you
a
know,
that's just a dangerous slope. Like that is really that literally is one of those things where it feels like they're taking away like a liberty or a freedom or however you want to put it.
Mhm.
Like I can, it's one of those things I want to understand both sides of the argument where North Carolina is not a hot zone right now,
mm,
but testing is not being as produced as much. Testing is slowing down and like the curve is not quote unquote flattening.
mhm,
So it almost seems like honestly, I don't agree with it. Like, I don't see
mhm,
why wearing a mask needs to be mandated. Like, where we're at right now, if you're unsure, like me, I've mentioned before, I'm in a high risk group. I'm not going out into large, like, crowds right now. I'm avoiding
mhm.
Mhm.
mass congregations. And, like, if anyone wants to shake my hand, I always go in for, like, the elbow bump kind of thing. I'm, like, keeping myself, like, away. Yeah, dude, every time. It's like the COVID bump every time.
You're like a boxer.
No, but like, and so I wear a mask everywhere. I'm doing everything I need to do to keep myself safe because that's what I chose to do.
Mhm,
I like that some stores, if they're a private business and they want to mandate that you have to wear a mask in our store to stop the spread, that's cool. But if you're out like in public at a park to say
mhm.
you have to wear a mask, or if you're out fishing and you have to wear a mask, I kind of have a problem with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, well, it just huh, this is a very deep,
This
um,
this is a deep
yeah,
and probably divisive one.
yeah. No, and I mean, so I think if you're in, like you said, populated areas, like the science is there, like it's
Yeah.
spread by droplets,
Mhm.
Mhm.
and I think compared to like, was it like the common flu? Like there's
Mhm.
like 10,000 times the amount of like germs in your throat. So like simply breathing is like a mechanism for spreading. So in that respect, it makes sense to me.
Yeah.
And you have
Mhm.
to think of like what are the implications of that curve not flattening. It's like a stress medical system, and then that just like ripples as well. But I mean, like I was out riding obviously yesterday, and it's like I'm not wearing a mask, because you're
Yeah.
outdoors, and yeah, as long as you're social distancing 6 feet, like
Exactly.
I don't see in that setting, right? It's like, yeah, I'm not gonna wear a mask, or like Abe
Mhm.
and I were just at like the water park here in Gunnison. It's like neither of us were wearing a mask,
Mm.
because we don't need
So we
to.
just got to stop breathing.
Yeah, no, we really
Yeah.
do.
We
Yeah,
just need to find a way. We just need to evolve to just not need mouths and not breathe. We'll just be a higher
We'll just
just
breathe
level.
out of
gills.
a
We'll just be a
different
higher
orifice.
level of being.
It'll be fine.
Yeah, yeah.
We'll just breathe.
No, gills. I'm telling you, man, it's gills.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, it's
Gills.
water
Scorpions.
world.
Then we're
Bring
gonna have
back
to worry.
water
Then we're
world.
gonna have to worry about fish-related issues. I don't know,
Yeah,
mercury poisoning. I don't know what it would be.
I don't know. I had fish too growing up, and they had like the like bacteria that would like eat away at their fins and stuff. It's
You know
weird.
what that's
It's really
caused?
weird.
You know what that's caused from?
No.
Extra food. So like the reason
Why do you
no,
know
no,
this?
The
because
food eats them?
because it's the
That's
rabbit
messed
hole.
up.
Yeah.
Because it's the rabbit hole. We know random things. No. So the old thing is don't overfeed a fish because they'll like keep eating it. And like
No.
that's what kills them. This is
Never
okay.
heard this.
This is okay. Any of our listener out there that is knows a lot about marine biology or fish ownership. This is true. And I'll explain why I know this in a little bit. The story is almost too embarrassing. But so they don't overeat. They don't do that. Like extra food will settle to the bottom and will decompose and like create bacteria that'll infect the water, and that's what will kill them.
Okay, that makes sense.
So how I know this is if have you ever been to a Bass Pro Shop?
Yes.
Every Bass Pro
shops.
Shop has a gigantic aquarium with fish the size of a bus. Like
Yeah.
they're
Mhm.
massive. And every now and then, I swear to God, they have a full-time employee that does like a fish show. They
Hmm.
they have like the microphone on and their speakers,
It's
and
like-
they talk about like the science and fishing stuff and stuff like that. And that's how I
Yeah.
learned it. He was like, had these like giant pellets of food and he was like tossing them in there. And he was
Hmm.
like, fun fact, the reason that they actually
Uh-huh.
die is not because of this, blah, blah, blah.
That's how I
Interesting.
shot my first bear. I mean, I just told some
With a
chick,
food
you know,
pellet?
I was trying to get with. I was like, dude, just came back from the store, got myself a grizzly bear. You know,
So, yeah.
Had it stuffed and everything already.
stuff.
Yeah, I can never say I never learned anything at a Bass Pro Shop.
Yeah. Oh, I
True.
love going to Cabela's and Bass Pro Shops. But
Oh,
going back to what you said, no, I think
Yeah, how far down are we going? in
no,
this?
hold on, because I think you made a good point. Like, I think the one thing I read a lot of dystopian
Mhm.
fiction and stuff like that,
Mhm.
and I don't know. I'm always where I don't trust the government, right? Like the government is there to help us to a point, right?
Kyle,
Yeah, I do not.
looking out for
Trump-
Big Papa Fauci's
really?
watching us.
Yeah, my
Uncle
FBI,
Sam's getting that.
my FBI agent's just like, oh God, this is it.
This,
um,
We got a
this is
ping.
all your
We got a
brain.
ping.
We got a ping. We got him,
Oh
man.
God.
Yeah. But no, it's like you know, this, if you lose, once you lose a freedom or the government takes over some aspect of something, like it's gone forever. You're not getting
Mhm.
that back, you know? And so that's why in times of crisis, we really do have to be mindful of, you know, what are we doing in these emergency times, and like, are we going to be able to roll that back? Like, will the next person roll that back?
Yeah.
Like, hypothetically, if we get, you know, say we initiated like military law because no one was wearing masks, it's like,
Mhm.
we're not coming back from that, you know,
Mhm.
especially with
Yeah.
Trump, and you know, he's just
So I typically don't buy into the whole like you know, big government's gonna control us and it's gonna be like the Matrix and like the conspiracy theories type things. But there have been some times in these last 4 months where it seems like that's kind of what's happening. And what I'm specifically referring to is, have you all seen Civil War? Is it Captain America Civil War?
Yeah.
Is it? Wait, no. No. Sorry, not Civil War. Winter Soldier.
Yes.
So
yeah.
the premise of the Winter Soldier is when they go into the bunker and they find Dr. Zoloff, his, you know, Hydra continued to operate in the background and was feeding information and causing chaos. And they created a world that was so horrible that it was only a matter of time before the public would be okay with giving up for their freedom for the government to protect them. And so that is what they did for the last 70 years. They planned assassinations, they planned pandemics, they did all these things to make people so afraid that they would have no choice but to rely on a government and a dictatorship so that they would feel safe. So they made made a world so that it seemed like it was the people's own idea that they would be okay with giving that up.
I'd like to.
I was like, that was a great fiction. Sorry, go ahead, Kyle.
I'd like to participate in this conversation, but I've still got property of the United States Navy still tattooed above my anus.
Oh,
Nice.
So,
Jeez.
That's the best tramp stamp I've ever
Yeah.
uh-huh.
No, but so like it's a cartoon, not a cartoon, but it's a Marvel movie, it's a comic book movie, it's fun, whatever. But then you see like the pandemic and they're forcing you to stay at home, and then you see the police brutality stuff, and you're just like, is there an actual algorithm to make us afraid, and then we're gonna be okay with big government taking us over, and Google's gonna put a bar scan tattoo on my wrist? Like, is this okay? I have to like ground myself and realize it's like, no, this is just life. Things are happening. We're going to be okay. But every now and then I slip into this shit seems real. Like, what
I mean,
you know
I have to think back. I have to constantly remind myself of like, I remember when back in March, like things like the first COVID case had arrived in the US.
Yeah.
And like there was a tangible sense of fear. Like I remember in the res halls, like there was someone who had come back from Italy, and it was like, what? There was like actual
Wait, really?
fear.
Mhm.
Yeah. Like
Oh,
there was
wow.
actual fear. Well, I think that's how the case popped up in CB, was there was someone from Italy.
Oh,
That's how
wow.
we got our case.
I
Yeah,
did
yeah,
not
yeah.
know that. Okay.
Yeah, I
Wait,
don't know,
first of
maybe
all,
I shouldn't be.
who goes to Gunnison from Italy? That makes sense.
Rich people. Yeah,
Oh,
Rich
rich
fair
people.
enough.
But I
Fair
think
enough.
yeah, so it was like, oh my God, like, rumors spread instantly. Like there was this traveler who just came back from Italy,
Mm.
the CB, there's like, a case popped up or something like that.
Mhm.
And it's like, okay, um, what do we do? And there's this real sense of like, is this it? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I constantly have to remind myself that like the stay-at-home order and stuff, like at the beginning, like it really made sense
Mhm.
to me. It was like, yeah, this is the most
Yeah.
logical step to like curbing this, is like, you need to stay at home. And it's like, I'm not going out anyway
For real.
because I'm scared shitless of this COVID thing, and I have no clue who has it or if I'm susceptible, and I'm that like 30-year-old that ends up dead on a ventilator because just genetically I rolled the dice wrong.
Yeah.
I think it's what we've seen happen is, humans have an interesting way of dealing with risk, right?
Yeah.
Like if you were told that, every cigarette pack had a bomb in it, right? One of the cigarettes was a bomb. You'd be like, oh, I'm never smoking, right? Like this is just, it's such a
Risk
crazy,
it.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's so dangerous, right? But then statistically, when you look at it, like I can't remember how it goes. Like out of everyone who smokes a cigarette, like, one person dies every so often, which is the same as every cigarette pack has a bomb in it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Mhm.
It was something weird like that. I can't remember. It was a Vsauce video. I don't know if you guys are familiar with him.
Mm-mm.
No.
I haven't
No,
heard of
he has
that.
this whole thing about risk. Um,
Hmm.
yeah, so it's like as we've stayed inside, it's like that in our minds the risk started like going downhill, and now it's like, why the hell are we staying inside? Why are we wearing masks? It's like because we were all scared shitless,
Yeah.
3 months ago when this novel coronavirus popped up here in the US,
Mhm.
So I don't know. I constantly have to remind myself of that, is like, okay, remember, because I mean I'll admit I was like scared shitless when it first popped up. It's like, man, like I've been on medicine for high blood pressure because I've taken like
Mhm.
medicine for Adderall. So because of that, then I got high blood pressure, and luckily it's back down. But
Thank God.
but that's what I'm like hearing, like, okay, like people who have high blood pressure, heart issues, all these at-risk populations, it's like, that could be me, and
Mhm.
so I don't know. That's my take on the whole stay-at-home thing. It's like I don't think it's some government takeover or whatever. Now, the police
No.
brutality and the silencing of protesters, that's different, That's I see that as a very fascist move, personally.
Speaking of this, apparently there's been a large number of reports of like fireworks going off at like
Mhm.
random hours of the night, like all over the country.
Hmm.
And there's a theory going around because apparently there was one video that saw what it looked like. I didn't take too hard of a look at the video, but it looked like some of the fireworks are coming from the back of a police precinct
Hmm.
as well. So there's a theory that all the fireworks that are going off across the nation are actually the police doing psychological warfare to try to curb the protesters.
Interesting.
Hmm.
Who knows?
Or it's just
Or it
like
could just
July
be
4th.
exactly, or it could just be July 4th. So
Yeah.
Is it? Is it?
Yeah, today's July 4th, man.
yeah.
What? What? Freedom Day?
America's
Freedom.
birthday.
Yeah.
America.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, no, it's I think, who's I talking to? I think any one of these incidents or any one of these problems in isolation are not a big deal, right? But you just
Mhm.
start this compiling effect of like, the lack of social interaction, because we are
Yeah.
very social creatures by nature.
Mhm.
You're isolated, you're doing everything digitally, so stress is kind of going up
Mhm.
regardless of the fact that there's a global pandemic.
Yeah.
People are losing jobs, and then you throw in the protests, and it's like it definitely has this like end of times feel, but it's like, okay,
We-
maybe,
Yeah. It
maybe
almost
we're
feels
just,
like, sorry to cut you off, but it almost
oh,
feels
it's
like
okay.
we have a mental health pandemic going on right now.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Like,
I think it's exposed the fragility, and the fragility and just the, yeah, I guess the brittle nature of
yeah.
Nathan's shoulders. No, just kidding.
But
Hey, full circle.
and we're
Of
bringing it back.
of our American
Mhm.
civilization, right?
Yeah.
Like I think,
We take so much for granted.
yeah, we do.
And
Like,
you take away any little thing and then it becomes like chaos as if
yeah,
you
well,
deserved it. Like, so there's an argument that I hear every now and then, which kind of related, not related to this. Like, do you think access to the internet is a human right now?
Mm.
Like,
I'm
do
just
you
trying to
think,
look smart
like, do you
this whole
think,
time.
do you think access to internet is almost the same as like everyone should have access to healthcare and everyone should have access to the internet? Do you think they're like on equal pages now?
I mean, I would like to think so. I mean, and I say that hesitantly, but
Yeah.
the reason I say yes is because you take two humans, one who has access to the internet and the hive mind, and
Hmm.
the other who doesn't. One is going to have exponentially more of just a knowledge base,
Yeah.
an exposure. um and just what, I mean, what a tool we've invented. I mean,
Yeah.
that's what we do. I mean, that's our species. We invent tools and we use them at a different level than any other primate has. And so I think the internet is like this beautiful tool that, I mean, we all grew up with it,
Yeah. And
so
we use it every day. I have no idea how it works. I have no idea how this computer works. I
you
have
should
no idea how the internet works. Like, if you were both put on an island by yourself, no contact with civilization, how long would it take you to make a phone?
um infinity.
Yeah, like how would you
We
like
just keep bashing
how?
stones together for a
You
I
million
could
years.
I could get a monkey to do
I
it.
need a dial tone now.
We put a monkey in
Take
space.
dial
We
up
could make it make a
anything.
phone.
Yeah. Oh man. No, that's what I'm
No.
saying. Like there's so much stuff around us that like we just know how to use it. Like
Mhm.
we can read, so we can read the user's manual. Um, and some of it almost seems like intuition
Mhm.
to a sense, in the sense that like every time I've gotten a phone, even if even if it was like an upgrade,
I
like
know the charm.
when I went from a flip phone to a touchscreen, it felt so user friendly and so intuitive that I feel like I already knew exactly how to use it.
Yeah.
Like my
No.
thumbs just knew exactly where to go, what to do. I was making phone calls. I didn't need to read a manual at all when I got my first iPhone. I just knew how to use everything, which is
Yeah.
really weird sensation. But like
It
knowing that
is.
I could not tell you how it's made from beginning to end, what like I could not tell
You
you.
should, dude. You should study some of that stuff. It's fascinating, man.
Really.
It really is.
You know what I
So
should have been in like an AV club or something in high school so I
dude,
could learn
you
how that
can
stuff
Yeah.
goes.
you can. I'll a little plug here, and I do want to get back to what we were talking about because it is. There's something else I wanted to say about that whole end of times thing. But Raspberry Pis, man, you can buy them
Raspberry
for like,
Pis.
yeah, Raspberry Pi. It's a little single board computer.
Mm-hmm.
And you can, yeah, I mean, you can play around with it on a level that you just can't do with a normal laptop because it's like, oh, I don't want to wreck anything. This is just like a blank slate. Like when you get it, it does nothing. You
Uh-huh.
have to program it yourself. So like
Really?
you have to figure out how to like burn an image, an ISO image onto an X, like like a little USB dongle,
Mm-hmm.
plug it into the Raspberry, extract it onto the Raspberry, use that operating system now to operate the Raspberry Pi. And then here's something crazy that I took for granted. You open up your laptop after it's off, boom, it knows what time it is, what date it is. It's
Oh
automatically
yeah.
synced with the internet. That doesn't happen with the Raspberry Pi. And
Really?
I spent days trying to figure out the code that I had to put in on Linux to get it to sync with the I forget the internet protocol that it is. But
Isn't
it's
it's like the naval clock or something like that that is like the master time?
yeah, I can't remember. There's some protocol that you just like, it's like a, maybe like a little snippet of code, but it automatically syncs your computer with the internet.
Okay.
Yeah, and then you can plug a breadboard in to the Raspberry Pi, so you can then control external, external, what am I trying to, the hardware.
Okay.
And then you start getting into, okay, like how, so what I
So it
find
literally
fascinating.
teaches you how to build a laptop.
Oh, dude, the
From
laptop
scratch.
I'm using right now, I built because I played on a Raspberry Pi. Yeah, dude.
Really?
I bought this thing for like $300.
Is that the Alienware, the gaming one you got?
Yeah, or the Asus. Yeah.
Asus,
Asus
okay.
or whatever. Yeah, but I totally like
Asus.
gutted it. Asus. Yeah.
Asus.
Sorry to derail that entire conversation.
Oh no,
Dude, seriously.
but no, yeah, but no. See, so one thing I was like super curious about is like, okay, so I'm going through all this code and stuff. Like, what is data, and how is it? How do you store like an electrical signal? How do you store something on a computer? That makes no sense to me. And like, how do you, so frying a computer, like how do you fry like electrical grids on a computer? And so then you start getting into like legit binary code where you are like programming like the electrical current on like the actual computer. And I'm just butchering this explanation right now too. Like there's some computer scientist out there who's watching this and he's like, no.
I got two things for you, Ray.
You're doing it right.
Yeah, Kyle, go for it, Kyle.
That's the premise of our show. We know like 1% of everything.
How you fry a computer is you turn your oven on and you get a
microwave. Yeah, a microwave.
That sounds like every scene in an 80s movie when a hacker gets caught. So they just like start throwing hard drives in a microwave and everything starts.
It works.
Dude,
it works.
I'm serious. And you're also screwing up, Ray, because I was actually born in a lab. My real name's Caesar, and I started out as a monkey, and I'm just evolving.
I knew I saw the resemblance.
You guys, so you guys keep talking, and I keep feeding this information into my brain hole, and nice. I'm just like, dude, wow. I'm gonna spit it out one day. It's cold hard facts.
Got it. Yeah, no, you guys, if you're curious about computers,
Raspberry Pi.
Yeah, Raspberry Pi, man. I mean, you can get, I think if you upgrade it for like $80, you can get like a 16 gigabyte RAM like Raspberry Pi, which is similar to what you can get in an actual laptop. I mean, like you can take a shell of like a tiny little like Google Notepad, just strip that thing out and then build it yourself using just the case. It's actually not that hard. I mean, honestly, like I say that, but it takes some serious like time.
Yeah. But I mean, it does sound like learning a new language.
No, it totally is.
Yeah.
But once you know how to code, it's like I'll see stuff on the internet and I'm like, nice.
You're like,
you charging $50 for that?
Nice. You just see all the ones and zeros.
The Matrix board.
Yeah.
I understand that.
He is the one.
Yeah.
Why isn't he running?
McClintock.
Oh yeah. But what were we talking
Mr.
about? Computers?
We were talking about COVID.
So
I brought up how Governor Cooper in North Carolina mandated that you have to wear a mask. This is like of today. Like I saw this.
Yeah. No, so I think what's really interesting is like it showcased how our whole society is based around the individual as opposed to the collective, right? Because it's like, how are and Ava's made this point many times, our culture is so much on like my freedoms, my this, my that, whereas all these other countries who have totally flattened the COVID curve, there is much more of this like socialist mentality of like, yes, like for the greater good. Which I think that can be dangerous sometimes, right? Mm-hmm. But do I think it's dangerous because it actually is dangerous, or just in that comparatively from what I've been raised in culturally, it seems dangerous? You know what I mean? I don't know. There's a really good quote last thing, and then I'm done.
No worries.
A really good quote. It's from a book called 1 Second After, and it's about a hydrogen bomb being detonated over Ohio. And it wipes out. This book is fantastic. It's about our whole electrical infrastructure getting wiped out within 1 second, and how we go from this like 21st century society to the Stone Age, just like that. And it's how humanity responds to it, specifically our culture. And it is captivating and harrowing at the same time, because you're like, I can see this happening. You know what I mean? Like, and I think actually the Department of Defense used it as a think tank, kind of like, I guess like dialogue starter, because it was so realistic and it was so spot on with like human psychology. But there's a quote in that book. Jesus Christ, I cannot finish this thought. Welcome to the rabbit hole with Ray.
Just Ray.
Yeah, there's a quote, and he says, "America is like an exotic plant greenhouse. If you turn the thermostat up or down a single degree, it just totally throws off the whole like environment." And I think that's what we're witnessing with COVID. You know, is like that thermostat has been tinkered with a little, like that our standard operating procedure has been totally upended. And when you think about it, we never have issues really here in the United States. Like, don't get me wrong, we've had our issues in the past. But when you look, you know, you watch the news and you're like, oh, war and blah, 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 war and this, you know, civil unrest. And it's like, well, that would never happen here because we're America. And it's like, no, I think now we're starting to see, you know, that divide has gotten to the point where it's now so in your face that it's like, well, some of these riots and some of the, you know, police conflict with protesters, that's something we haven't seen here in the US on this level and as like in your face now, especially due to like these things. So that's the end of my rant.
I think that was
wow,
a good
dude.
rant.
If this was a team sport, time of possession, you'd be killing this.
You know why I don't play team sports? Because of this right here. Because there's always that one dude on your team that fucks up and doesn't practice enough.
God, dude, you would be killing the other team right now.
Yeah.
Just be dominating.
I yell at my own teammates more than I do the other team. Will, what are you doing?
Dude, you suck.
I just had to go use the bathroom. Get back in practice.
Get back.
Blowing the game, Will.
Oh man.
And that's why I don't play sports.
Yeah.
Wait, that's why you don't play sports?
That's the one. That is the reason I've never
One
played
reason.
sports, because
The Rays out there. Yeah.
Because Ray's out there, some shadowy unknown figure like the government.
Seriously, who's
Dude,
watching this
stop talking about
podcast
the
right now?
dog.
Yeah. Oh man.
Dog, you dropped DOD, you dropped FBI, man. Gosh.
I know. Seriously, we're hitting all the markers here for watch list stuff.
Where do we go from that? Where do we go
from my rant?
From that rant, yeah. How do
From
we
your
get out
rant?
of that rabbit hole? You know what? There was something Kyle and I were talking about. Was it last week? That it was either last week or maybe it was yesterday. That it has been very difficult to do this 30-day challenge. Apparently.
Oh,
Dude, it's so hard.
So hard.
So one thing that I was mentioning to Kyle is we're at the point where we would have just been finishing reading New Jim Crow, the book. My book still hasn't gotten here.
Really?
Yeah.
What?
And I ordered it the day of, like the day that we recorded that podcast. I ordered it the next day.
Yeah.
And this was what, 4 weeks ago now?
Yeah, I mean,
I ordered it from, it gave, like, if you don't have a copy, you need to get it from a specifically a Black-owned business. And I followed the websites. I looked for a library online, and I couldn't, like, I don't know why it just hasn't gotten here yet. So
you ordered it off Amazon or?
No,
You
because
ordered
a
it
part
from
of the 30-day challenge was you need to order it from a library that was owned by a Black business person.
Oh, gotcha.
So I didn't get it on Amazon or anything like that because I wanted to like stick to the rules, and I don't know why it just hasn't got. I need to call the company. It didn't have a tracking number or anything. So I guess
It's a white company.
it was also really expensive. I spent like $30 with the book.
Well,
Yep,
I mean,
definitely a white company.
I could see it being in high demand all of a sudden.
That's
you
true
know?
too.
I mean, I could see with like the 30-day challenge and just with more dialogue around this, and Michelle Alexander is pretty commonly quoted when it comes to what would you call it, the incarceration,
Yeah.
what I'm looking for, the
So I've been trying to balance
incarceration industry. Sorry.
Yeah, I've been trying, and I actually watched the documentary 13th, which
Yep.
pulls a lot of information from that book
Exactly.
scratches the surface. And she's cited in there, and she does some of the interviews and and quotations as well too. So that was a mind-blowing documentary. Like that's something that brought to light something I never even thought of, even considered that even happens in this country.
Yeah.
So yeah, that is a real issue that's going on. So I've been trying to, because there are some challenges that are like, there was one day where the entire challenge it was like a 3-minute video. It was like a 3-minute poem reading, which, you know, it was a really good poem and the content was great, but I wanted to just like do more. So thank God every streaming service now has an entire section that's like Black stories, Black documentaries, Black Lives Matter section. And you can just go down that rabbit hole and watch so many different things. And what's really cool is Hulu recently did a partnership with HBO, and I was able to watch The Watchmen on HBO Hulu, and it was under their Black Story series as well, because they're telling of The Watchmen as a really, really interesting perspective. Like the very first scene in the new Watchmen series, it starts off right in Tulsa, Oklahoma, 1921. I did not know that date and location either because it's not talked about in schools, but that was like an entire decimation of a town.
Really?
Tulsa, Oklahoma, I want to say it was colloquially known as like Black Wall Street. Like it was its own economy. People were doing well. And like in this time of like high tension and racial prejudice, they had their own self-sustaining community and people were wealthy and bountiful, like as a Black community. It was great. And then KKK members came in and just like destroyed the town, killed people, just like decimated the whole town. And I'm not going to lie to you. I did not know anything about this event.
I've never heard about that.
Exactly.
I haven't either.
It's like it actually happened. Like, so yeah, that is
Tulsa 1921.
Yeah.
Keep feeding my brain hole. Keep doing it. I'm learning so much.
Tulsa 1921. Tulsa Race Massacre is the first thing that comes up.
I'm gonna go look that up.
Yeah, look up the Tulsa Race Massacre. And so the premise of this, and you know what, it's so crazy, even though this came out like a year ago, it ties in so well to what's going on here. And it talks about like police brutality as well.
Yeah.
And there's also a section of it that like, it goes a lot in with like the masked hero covering up your identity thing. Cause there's a rule in Tulsa where police officers have to wear a mask. Like all the police officers look like this.
What?
So, because apparently, I'm not doing it justice, but the series is so good. So if you have the ability to watch it, I highly, highly recommend it.
Is it a free, like you don't need HBO?
Yeah, I watched it on, I just have regular Hulu, $5 a month, and I watced all 9 episodes.
Okay, I'm gonna have to go let Ava know.
It's so
watch that.
Good. And I really like it because I love things that take place in the same universe as Nerd Culture, but it's like its own self-sustained story.
Yep. No, me too.
And so it's just like that. I think it takes place, like the main storyline takes place however many decades after. Everyone remembers the Watchmen movie that came out, I think 2007 or 2009. It takes place however many decades after that. So it picks up where it left off, own self-sustaining story, and like touches on a lot of really, really relevant issues. I cannot praise this series enough. So, but that is all to say, like I'm doing my best to add content into this 30-day challenge when I can to make up for what I think was like, you know, I really got a lot out of this. Maybe I want to learn more about it, or this was good, but I feel like I should be doing more today.
Yeah, people need to pay attention to entertainment more because there's a lot of actual truth behind a lot of the things they're trying to portray, and it gets past the people just being like, oh, it's just TV.
Yeah.
No,
totally. Yeah, the new Jim Crow, I think once you get it, I think it's going to echo a lot of the things that you heard in 13th.
Yeah.
But yeah, once you see that industry of incarceration, it's just, you can't unsee it. And then you get these big businesses rolling in. I mean, just you know, there aren't many things. I mean, I do speak like in black and white terms.
The only way I could think to compare it is it's like the American sweatshops.
Yeah.
It's like how we can buy Nike shoes and Apple laptops for so cheap is because they're made overseas where people are getting paid a nickel a day to make these products for it that we take advantage of. Some of those products, I really think that say made in America. I now have to think, if it was made in America, was it made in a prison?
Yeah. No,
Wow.
I mean, it's,
Yeah.
yeah, that is a really good point.
Especially when you go to like a Walmart or Old Navy or something like that, and it says made in America, you know, those stores.
Well, and license
they're
plates.
They're not,
Yeah.
dude, license plate. Yeah. Those all come from prisons.
Yeah.
So things like that, you just make me it makes me want to think like, how, I don't know what I can do or what.
What do you think the freaking like prison system feels about like stamping like Department of Defense on a freaking license plate, and you're just like sitting there like, why don't I think about this?
It's all, the problem is, and why the fight is such an uphill battle is because it's been monetized now.
Yep.
And now you have this billion-dollar prison industry that requires that beds be filled. I mean, it's like, what is this country that we live in? I mean, there genuinely have been times, you know, I'll speak more broadly within the last 4 years, where it's like, and I'm not directly relating this to Trump. I'm really trying not, I'm not targeting him by any means. But
this has been going on way before Trump, way before Obama. It's been going. This is not a new issue.
Yeah, it's just like, what are we doing as a country? Like, where are we going?
Yeah,
you know,
where do our values really lie?
Yeah, and it's a sad thing to, you know, because don't get me wrong, like I'd like to think that I'm a patriot. Like I like what we idealize here in America in terms of like, you know, the Bill of Rights. You know, and I think obviously we need to open that up a little bit more. Yes.
Making fun of Kyle at this point.
Yes. Now I totally lost my train of thought. We need dang it, it's gone.
We've been and it's gone.
And it's gone. Yeah, we need to.
I just did the dinner for schmucks right to Ray. I was mind controlling him. I was like, "We'll watch this."
Watch. You just message him. Watch. What was I saying though? Bill of Rights. Crap! You guys killed it. You killed it.
I'm so sorry. Here, let me take. Here's your point.
Yeah.
and it's gone. It's just out of here.
Yeah. Damn it! It was a good point too.
I'm sure.
I'm sure.
I'm sure it was on point. I don't know where. Right, we'll come back eventually.
We'll talk about something else.
Yeah. Well, okay. Here's so two things that have been coming up recently, kind of relating to 13th. The pulling down of Confederate statues has been a thing. And then I'm curious how you guys feel
Confederate
about
flag.
Well, there's also that. I guess I kind of was linking that in with the. I forgot about that, honestly. Dude, so much shit is happening. It's like hard
I have a lot. I've recently been in a lot of interesting conversations about this topic, but I'll let you all say what you have to say before I give my 2 cents on it.
Yeah. There's the Confederate flag, the Confederate statues, and then I think one thing I've found to be weird is white people like taking front and center stage.
White people are just weird.
Yeah, we are. We are weird.
We're a really weird species, white people. Like, man, we do some weird things.
Yeah,
we do some weird shit.
But
what do you think are some specific weird white people traits?
Oh God,
I'm thinking things like we call animals fur babies. Like, I think that's a really weird white person thing.
But
here's one thing I've noticed, and you've all noticed this, and anytime I've noticed it, it's been a white person. Why do we randomly include like accents in vernacular, or if we're like meeting someone?
You mean like?
So I'm saying, like, if you're ever like at a party and you meet someone for the first time, you'll be like, "Hey, this is Dave," and Dave will go, "Oh, hey, governor." And you're like, "Oh, wow, Dave, are you from England? Like, what brought you to America?" And he's like, "No, I'm
you know what?
From South Carolina.
Speaking of pets,
I just wanted to be a silly goose and do an accent. Like, why do we do that?
Dude, freaking pets, dude. We name our pets. White people name fucking their pets white people ass names. First names of other white people.
This is my hamster Ignatius.
Yeah. I think that's so weird. Like
Right?
they're dog names and they're human names. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
And only
Fluffy.
white people do
Fluffy,
this
good
shit.
dog name. Spot, Max, great dog name. Have you ever met a dog that
Yeah.
has like an oddly human name?
Yes.
Like Dave. or
Like
something?
Brian.
Like
Bob.
exactly, Bob, like a dog, like an animal with
Bob.
like a very
grandma had a
distinctly
dog named
human
Bob.
name. Like I once met I was introduced. I don't know how you say this. I was introduced to a cat. This is my cat. His
You
name's
stuck your finger out.
Yeah.
Come here.
I don't remember what I was going with that. But yeah, no, we do some
Good.
really
Now
weird
you know
shit.
how it feels.
We do some weird stuff.
I've done,
man.
but okay. So I'll also admit I have done that. I've pretended to have an accent at a party.
Oh man.
Dude, of course
It's
you
bad.
did.
No, okay. So here's this. Here I was on a spring break trip with my buddy, who's a foreign exchange student from Australia, and we randomly stumbled we were in Wilmington, North Carolina, and we somehow stumbled our way into a college party. We were also in college at the time. We're not just creepers, and we stumbled our way into this college party, and Tim, who's my Australian friend, he was like, "Hey, just pretend to have an Australian accent, and you'll definitely go home with a girl." We were there for like an hour. And I kept it up the entire time, and it was very obvious that I was using an accent. It was
Not from Australia.
It was
Wait, let me
not
hear it.
good
Let
at
us
all,
hear it.
and I didn't go home with anybody.
No, let's hear it. Well, let's hear how your accent was presented.
Oh God, no, that's not
Pretend
happening.
I'm a girl, and you're gonna pick me up. That's Australian.
Oh God. I'm gonna pick up an Avalanche fan.
Yeah, with blonde hair,
Yeah.
one blue eye.
I can't. I'm laughing too hard. I'm gonna butcher it.
You can't do it. You
I can't-
can't do it.
I want to. Every time I try to do it, I just stop myself.
Dude,
What,
just
dude?
so you
Okay.
know, Will, if you do it, this is the stuff that will get clipped apart and then become just, spread across
exactly.
YouTube.
Greatest
So,
This will be
episode
it'll be
of
someone's
the whole
ringtone. I
ever.
don't know.
yeah. Someone's ring.
It'll be someone's ringtone. Me trying to do an Australian accent.
Well,
I
give
can't-
him
I
give him
can't.
a ringtone to work with.
I
damn
have a mental block every time I try to do it. I can't do
Yeah,
it.
no. So, okay, anyway, going back to my point.
All right.
White people
weird.
leading Black Lives Matter
it.
protests.
That's fucking weird.
I don't know if I agree with that.
White people
think-
at a Black Lives Matter protest?
No, leading it.
Oh,
Like
leading
giving a
it.
speech or like,
Oh,
it's like,
okay.
I think that,
Yeah,
I don't know.
It does kind of seem like white saviorism when you can put it into that.
Yeah. Oh no, 100%. It's
Yeah.
like, no, I saw that recently and I was like, dude, sit down, man. Like you can be an ally.
you just
Don't
need
get
to
me
be an
wrong.
ally. Just be an ally. Be there. Show your support. Make a flyer. Like show
Yeah.
that you can stand beside them. This is
Yeah.
not a time for you to lead them. This is the
Yeah, this is-
wrong
Yeah.
time for you to think you're a leader here.
This is not our moment. And yeah, I think, be well informed,
Mhm.
be actively engaged in your community,
Mhm.
support your friends, have the conversations that matter, and show up to the protests. Like that's where that's our place in this whole thing. And don't get me wrong, like, yeah, I don't want to say that white people shouldn't attend it. Like I think it is valuable that we are attending in mass.
Mhm.
But for you to get up and like give a speech about
Yeah,
Black
talk
lives,
about this.
it's
Yeah.
like you don't know, you can never experience
No.
that, and it's like I don't want to get too specific, but yeah,
No, I can
that bugged the
understand.
shit out of me.
Yeah, I can understand if you're trying to bring other white people and trying to bring other white allies, but I want to bring something up. I really like that you said, we need education and allies. So there was a story that came out recently that there was, I think, 2 soon-to-be freshman college students at North Carolina State University, NC State, but doing so after they were fully accepted. They did some research and apparently they had some like outlandishly racist tweets or outlandishly racist like social media posts.
Mhm.
Mhm.
So in lieu of that, in the wake of that, they decided we are terminating their acceptance because we don't want that like character at our university. And I think on
Yeah.
face value, that's doing the right thing.
Mhm.
However, I think this is a missed opportunity and I think it's going to cause more harm. What if instead they said, okay, we will let you into our university, but you are mandated to attend and pass X amount of credits in African American studies.
Yeah.
So instead of creating another circle of hatred and intolerance, what if we force them to be educated, and maybe that creates another ally or another supporter?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Bad.
So
Yeah,
I think there's so many ways that we can be going about it, as opposed to just be like, you're racist, get the hell out of my life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We need to actually, because like when you keep them in that bubble, they just stay isolated and they're never going to grow and change.
Yeah.
And it just feeds that cycle, because let's say those students came in, they took the classes, they learned, and now they're educators and now they're allies. They grow up, they have a family of their own, and it's a new cycle. They now are educating their children about a new way of living and a new way of life. It's like, yeah, we're going to Christmas with grandpa. He's going to say some stuff. I'll explain it to you later.
Yeah.
You know, that was my immediate thought, is just like, instead of just immediately turning him away, and obviously it's bad. Like, you need to just obviously say it, like, no matter what, if you have a racist tweet or something out there, you need to do something about it, but you need to educate, you need to empower so they can learn.
And I think, unfortunately, a lot of universities are not truly educationally focused, right? No. They are a business. They're making money. What is the safe bet? It's you're not welcome within this community, you know? So I hear you, but
you're exactly right. Looking at, I mean, that's something that we learned that's something we learned in grad school and higher ed. You learn about organ admin and what the politics and what the business looks like as an institution, not as a place of learning, as an institution, as a business. Like, that's the dark side of higher ed. That's like a 2-episode rabbit hole I could totally go down, is the real dark side of higher ed, which I still love and I still see the value in. And it's like, there's still so much can offer, but there's a lot of things that go on behind the scenes that might surprise some people. Probably won't surprise some people, but it might.
Yeah. I would hope that the students who didn't get accepted, hopefully, maybe that was a learning opportunity for them.
You see, you would think so, but now they're on a public forum and they're viewed as a racist, and they're only ever going to be a racist.
Yeah.
They're, in the time of social media, they're going to go into a job interview. They're going to read their resume. Every employer is going to Google that name. And he said, oh, hey, there's a story here that 5 years ago, you didn't get into this college because of this racist tweet. We don't want you in this company anymore. It's just going to keep the cycle going.
Yeah. That is you said that was in North Carolina?
Yeah, NC State. I'm pretty sure. I'd have to pull the article up. I saw it on Facebook.
Yeah.
No, if it was on Facebook,
there was something going around where somebody was making making an argument that African American studies should be included in liberal studies and liberal arts colleges. So it's like, you have to take your math, you have to take your science and your history. As a part of that, you have to take a intro to African studies or African American studies, history, something like that. So that way everybody is educated about what's going on now.
Interesting.
So
that'd be smart. I think we could do that with a lot of different ethnicities.
Yeah. Maybe like an ethnic studies class.
Yeah, just ethnic studies, and just especially as white people.
And you know what? You definitely Kyle, you bring up a really good point that, like, yes, the Black Lives Matter movement is very important, and I think what's going on is great, but we can't forget other identities that are out there and other races and creeds that are out there that shouldn't be overshadowed, because we ultimately want all lives to matter, right?
Yeah.
All lives will only matter once Black lives matter, once Asian lives matter, once Latino X lives matter. Like, the ultimate goal is, yes, all lives matter. But until then, we have a lot of work to do.
Yeah. And I totally agree. And I think we overlook, like, how big the movement, the LGBTQ and stuff like that is, because it's also like, it's people being people to the truest form of themselves.
Yeah.
They're like, I believe I am this, or I believe I am that. And as people, that's what seriously makes us different than animals. It's like, we can believe in ourselves, in that what we are makes us human. And so I just believe in that so much. And it's like we take for granted that freedom that we have to express ourselves as individuals.
Exactly.
Our individualistic.
What was that, Ray? You cut out.
Society there again. The value of the individual.
Right.
I said our individualistic society.
Your individual. Okay, you cut out on my screen for like 3 seconds.
Oh, it's all good. I know, because I was like, Kyle heard me, I think.
Yeah,
And of course, I'm
Yeah.
I'm the one recording, so now all of our viewers are going to see it.
Oh, right. Yeah, right. I heard a really good, or I saw on Reddit. It's a really funny post. It's like saying all lives matter during the Black Lives Movement is like going to a birthday party and being like, "It's my birthday too."
Yeah.
Oh God.
Oh, that's so funny. That sounds
Yeah.
like something Trevor Noah would say on Daily Show.
Yeah, I like his stuff. I think he's
Yeah.
pretty good. I still
He's
miss
good.
Jon Stewart though. That man, dude, just come back on the air, man.
Seriously.
Seriously.
He needs to
Like-
do another stand-up special. At least that.
No, it's just
At least
something,
another
man.
stand-up special.
I mean, he must feel. I mean, I know he put a lot of work into like the 9/11 firefighters.
Mhm.
What was it? The bill.
Yeah.
But it's like,
Yeah.
man, we need voices like his. He's so articulate and so well educated. And just I don't know. I think he stands for just like I agree with what he stands for. You know, like his values are very clear, and I'm just like, yes, like we need. If more people
Yeah.
thought like him, our society would just be better. So anyway, Jon Stewart, if you see this, we need you back
Jon-
on air.
Jon Stewart, 2024. Let him run for
Yeah.
president.
I know, and we
Oh,
lost
dude.
Stephen Colbert too.
Yeah, I was
You
just
know?
about to say his name.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was
dude,
like,
it's just
I was like using my third eye to tap into
Yeah.
your third eye. And I was like,
that's all Kyle's
Ray,
doing is
say
just
it. Say it.
testing theories about his third eye this whole show.
Dude, that's what I've been doing. I've just been like planning all this. You think your
Yeah.
thoughts are your
That's
thoughts,
so
but
funny.
man, dude, I'm controlling this environment.
Inception, man. Okay, Leo.
Yeah, dude.
Okay, Leo. Yeah, I just don't think we have the political like that comedy, political pundit thing that we had in like the early 2000s. We're just missing that right now. Don't get me wrong, Trevor Noah is good, but he
He had
has
some
his
big
own
shoes to fill.
Yeah, exactly.
Mhm.
You know what? Maybe I'm totally wrong, and like they did their thing, they laid the foundation, and Trevor knows
Yeah.
him and what's his face, John Oliver.
Yeah,
Kinda
he does some good
did it.
stuff too.
Yeah, John Oliver
He
does.
did.
He has
did.
some awesome stuff about the prison industrial complex here in America.
Really?
I would highly recommend John Oliver. In fact, I
Ooh.
think one
I'll
of
look
his most recent videos is on prisons. I haven't watched it yet though.
Gotcha.
But yeah, he does some pretty solid journalism. So anyway, well, we
Okay.
never got to Confederate statues or anything, but I don't know.
Yeah, that's a very hot topic right now.
Yeah.
I mean, it really has been for a while. When I was in grad school, a big thing that was going on in one of our case studies was Silent Sam statue at Carolina.
Not
Silent.
familiar.
It's a Confederate era
Huh.
statue that's in the middle of the Carolina campus.
I just had a weird thought. So, you know how
Go for
we
it.
had the white elephant on our campus,
Yes.
or the
A
thing?
mental health.
What about
elephant.
letting people not deface these statues or anything, but just write down their true feelings about how they feel about it,
Mm.
and then just be like, "Hey, let's paint a picture," and then take snapshots of it and be like, "Hey, this is what people actually think this means." And then rather than, and see how much of it really affects them. And if it affects them that much, then yeah, take it down, replace it with something a little bit better, more friendly to everybody else. And then just focus all your attention on getting those answers out of people and how they truly feel, rather than just be like, oh, this is what the masses are saying. Let's just do this. And let's
Yeah.
just try to solve the issue that we have no idea. We haven't asked anybody about it. We haven't it's just a big thing, and people need to be more educated about how these people are feeling.
Yeah.
And maybe that would be like, holy crap, like, this is how you really feel about this? Like, let's unedit, let's do it unrated, and let's just be like, write down how you truly feel on this statue, and we'll figure it out from there.
I feel like the statues would just be one
Yeah.
solid color of ink.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know?
They would just totally dark it out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I do like that idea though.
That is a good idea. That is a really good idea. I am definitely leaning towards the side of the argument of
White elephant.
I don't have many.
Confederate statues.
leaning on the side of the argument of it's time to get rid of some of the statues. Not all of them. You got to like know the research. Like there was one statue that was defaced in Pennsylvania, I think. I can't remember the name of the person, but the statue was of a man who was like an actual, like, he opposed slavery. He was an abolitionist. Is that what it's called?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
He was like totally 100% opposed slavery, for the Union, was like totally on the side. And so it's like, is that the statue we need to take down? So I think there's not enough research going into the statues that are getting torn down. But I think 99% of them, it's like, yeah, it's definitely, there's an argument to be made that it should go away.
Yeah, that would be my exact point, or my stance too, is, you know, I
just
think
because
maybe
it's a statue.
maybe there's that group think, and it's just like, there's,
yeah,
8 statues, fuck it, they're all coming down,
Yeah.
And maybe that happens, then whatever, you put that one up again, we got the money for it.
Yeah.
But I think, the whole argument that like, oh, it's history, blah, blah, blah. It's like, no, that is.
Read a book.
That is. Look, we don't have any statues of Hitler up anywhere, and we remember that dude. So, you do not need statues to keep history alive by any means. And I think it is a really sadistic way of reminding people of color, of slavery. It's kind of just like in your face, like,
exactly.
and that's how I feel about the Confederate flag too. I know you brought that up, and actually, it's interesting. The Confederate flag that we see nowadays is not the actual Confederate flag.
It's the battle flag.
Yes, yeah. It's on like a couple ships. It's like the naval battle flag.
Yeah.
And it was adopted like in the 1960s as like, kind of like a non-civil rights movement kind of symbol.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, that furthers that. It showcases the ingrained systematic oppression of people of color, specifically African Americans. And I think, I think people are fed up. They've realized the system is not working, not only not for them, but they also see the oppression now. Mm-hmm. They see they are now witnessing themselves the violence that blacks have been dealing with the police for decades, if not, damn near close to 100 years here coming up soon. And it's like, rip them down. I don't know. I think as long as you're not, my big, like the rioters, I'm so glad those guys, or the looters, once the looters got kind of squelched out, I think it was really kind of a cool community, like, we're not okay with this. It's diluting the point. Luckily that only was around for a week, because I think in general, like, we need to utilize our freedom of expression and right.
You know what, Ray, on that, like, seriously, I just had another maybe good thought for once. Twice a day. Holy
so you're going to take a white elephant.
Yeah, you're going to take a white elephant. So, and put it on the Washington Monument.
What if you, like, write on the monument all the way up to the top?
Yeah. Oh, dude, this would be so cool. No, I was just thinking, one thing that is kind of pure and absent of kind of racism is, and I'm not even the most religious person ever, but nobody has ever stated that Jesus or God is racist. No one. Like, ever. Like, religion, we need more pure thoughts. Not saying that religion is a perfect thing, because you're allowed to practice whatever religion you want to practice. And nobody says, oh, this whole idea of believing in something that creates a common ground for everybody is foolproof, and it's definitely not. But it's also like, if you think about the pureness and the quality of what these people have written down in these books and written down in their own religions and stuff like that, it gives people something to follow that tends to lean more on the side of equality and persistence of doing right and wrong, and also doing this. And what I think would be kind of like this thought process that people need to more focus on is that difference between right and wrong. And it's like, hey, definitely not allowing people to focused on equality is wrong. Not believing in the people who wrote in this book many moons ago, whoever wrote it, was like, hey, you need to be kind and equal to every single person you come in contact with. And that the basis of that pureness is, I think, what we're kind of straying away from, is that belief that there is something out there, and you don't even have to believe it's real or not, but you believe in what it says about others, and you believe in this holy, like, holiness of, seriously, like, treat thy neighbor as you treat thyself, you know? And it's just like all this pureness that comes from those words is why I choose to believe the things I believe in. And even though I'm not the most religious person, I just see what they're trying to do. And the people who focus all their attention on straying away from that is the issue.
Interesting.
That is an interesting take on it.
Yeah, I would say I have two things with that.
Oh, let's go, Ray.
Two things. Let's go, man. I'll meet you in Chiquita. Yeah. Oh, and he's gone.
And he's gone. That was his mic drop moment. Like, I said what I need to say. I'm getting out of here.
Yeah. I would say, well, so I approach religion very much from an atheistic point of view.
Yeah.
And so, and that, I say that as that's the context for like my commentary on this. I would say more likely than not, more wars have been fought over religion than not.
Yes.
You know, and so I agree with you. So, and I say that, and then I'm on the other side of the token. Like I listen to a lot of, I don't know if you're familiar with like Joseph Campbell. I know I've mentioned him before.
Do you know Stephen Furtick and like people like that?
Stephen Furtick. I don't know who that is.
Oh,
maybe
man.
I do. I'll look him up. But Joseph Campbell speaks to like his big thing is he studies religions from all over the world, like multiple centuries back. And he found these patterns, these common patterns that were woven into all of them. And I think religion is important because it speaks to the human condition and how do you live as a good, like, what does it mean to live a good life? And so I think, right, like I don't read, I've read the Bible. I've also read aspects of the Quran or parts of the Quran. I've tried to dabble in a little bit of everything. I've read some of the Upanishads. Like I never read them literally, right? I'm not like, oh yes, like this literally happened, like there was a flood. I believe that all of these are metaphors that we are to extract lessons from. And so in that aspect, I agree. Like we need a deeper understanding of what we are as a species and just like a civilization, right? Like a very naturalistic kind of point of view almost, and that like we are all one. And I sound like such a hippie right now, you know. We're all connected. Dude, man, we're like all one.
It's the summer of love.
Yeah, but no, I mean, I really, and it almost goes into like a Taoist perspective of like, you know, we are the universe. Like we come from the universe. We all are like, who is it? Neil deGrasse Tyson's mentor, Carl Sagan. You know, we are all stardust. And so like, you know, that kind of stuff I think is very important. And it snaps us out of this like drive to be the momentary masters of like these patches of earth. That's a Carl Sagan quote as well. And it unites us in this commonality that like we're all here on, you know, spaceship earth experiencing this like whatever this is, you know, and there's no need to be in conflict with each other, and that in working together we could build a civilization that is truly like, you know, going to the stars. So yeah, that's, I don't know if I feel like I built off what you were saying, you know, but then at the same time I'm also trying to say I'm skeptical of religions.
No, yeah, absolutely, you know? Dude, and you have every right to be. And there's also another thing that I was talking about with Will yesterday, is that we are all gods of our own universe. like when you choose to believe in somebody with all that you are, you're believing as if you don't see their issues, or you accept their issues, or you like see how fruitful their life is.
Mm-hmm.
And you just adapt that into your own personal beliefs. And you're just like, you know what? I don't care. I don't care what kind of person you were. I care about the person you are and the person who you're going to be. And I think that's like the belief that society needs to follow, is that, and that's why I think I don't have a real good grasp. I mean, you're married, and you know,
am I?
And, yeah,
oh,
and
shit.
but it's just this pure belief in another person that I think we just need to sit back and just actually like contemplate and think about, and just be like, why are these people so special when everybody else has the right to feel this way, or be chosen to be like, oh man, like this person's so fantastic, and so just without guilt and without like hesitation, you're just like, I'd rather choose to believe in that person.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we combat that in our minds. And I know I've had thoughts about that. And this is why I think constantly people are being like, just be open, tell the truth. They're like, it'll all work out eventually. And then you just kind of follow that pattern. And the more you stray away from that pattern, the worse life gets.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like, everybody's always telling you all those things, and you're just kind of straying away from it because your mind plays tricks on you, and you're constantly thinking about, well, if I do this, this will happen. But
Mm-hmm.
then you're taking yourself and you're allowing yourself not to control your own environment. And that's where it gets scary. You're just like, oh man, I want this person to do this. I want this person to do this. But then you kind of think back to it, and you're like, the most pure people you think about and care about, you're just like, man, I don't really care what they do, because they're doing it to the full extent of who they are as a human being. Yeah. And I think that's what kind of religion and all this topics are kind of representing and trying to get to us in our hearts, is that there's nothing wrong with the way people are, as long as you believe in them, and they're going to take that belief and actually feel it and actually understand it and be like, maybe I'm not a piece of shit, you know?
Yeah.
Maybe this focus, this drive that these people see in me is worth a damn, you know?
Yeah.
And it's kind of like how I've been trying to think about life lately, is just, it's like there are good and bad things in the universe. And the bad things, like I was listening to Stephen Furtick about like plot twists and stuff like that. He's like, all these bad things that are going on in your life are setting up, like, let's say God, setting up, and he's going to show you something good in return in your own life. And it's just like, it's like when you choose to believe that, it's a much happier way of going through things. And it's a much more open-minded kind of like, and I'm not saying like I don't have shit for answers. Sometimes I play out a day in my head and I'm like, well, nothing happened. And it's just
no one has the answers, man.
Yeah, no. Nobody has the answers. It's just like,
but
just
it's fun to ask the questions.
Yeah,
you know?
No, exactly.
Anyway,
there was something you said that I wanted to comment on, and I totally forgot.
That seems to be the
second
theme
time
of this
today,
episode.
man.
This is the theme.
Yeah.
I'm trying to. The problem is when I start like engaging in like a true dialogue with people, right? My brain is like, I hear one thing you say and it's like, boom, gone. You know what I mean? It's like I have ADD.
That's almost like,
you know, I'm trying to
ADD.
focus on what you're saying, but at the same time, it's like, oh, that's a great idea. I got to save that, you know? And then by the end of it, I'm like, God damn it, it's gone. And it's gone. Yeah.
And it's gone.
No, I guess the other point I was trying to make, I was just kind of teasing myself there. You know, there's different levels of civilization, right? And like they categorize it differently. And this is like astrophysicists and bioastrophysics or something like that. It's the study of like life on other galaxies and stuff. That's all hypothetical. But from my understanding, like we aren't even like a class like 3 civilization. Like we haven't even certain thresholds. Like, are you maximizing all the energy from like your local like planet, local star, and then local like galaxy. And I really so some of my like strengths, my strengths plus strengths, I get like I have futuristic ideation. So I like the more abstract stuff. And I would love to see humanity get to that point where we are like maximizing all the energy that is, available to us here on the earth, so that we can just, have a more equally distributed like playing field for everyone. And to get to that point, I think we need to realize that like, what good is a society where not all members are able to contribute equally to the outcome, right? Like, so, and I'm mixing like multiple different like areas of study here, but why would we not want all females to be highly educated and contributing to the academic conversations? Why would we not want blacks to have the same access to education, or other other minorities? It's like, that's where it kind of pairing off of what you're saying, like have that belief in other people, and like, let's see where we can go as a species. I don't know. That's my grand future.
That's awesome, Ray.
Seriously,
man.
Will's like, what the hell is going on?
Yeah, he's like,
Ray is so much more educated in these topics than I am.
No,
I'm
not.
I'm here for the
just
pop culture references.
So the Mandalorian.
So, speaking of which, actually, no.
Dude, I don't know. I guess I'm very much a dreamer. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you are.
I spend a lot of, as a young child in school, I was always getting in trouble for daydreaming. And it's like, yeah, because like the shit on the board is boring.
Yeah.
I was thinking about like way cooler stuff, and not even cooler stuff, but just more meaningful things. And I don't know. I think there's a place for.
No, go ahead.
For it.
I was just going to say, that's where you and I differ, is because I'm such a in the moment kind of person. Like, I rarely think about the past or the future. I'm literally thinking about just the day or the week.
Hey, Ray.
Maybe the month. But like, I love just living in the moment, experiencing what is around me at this time, and just absorbing the moment. Like, just kind of taking in every little thing, who I'm talking to, what's going on tomorrow. Like, and just like really just that, what am I trying to say? There was a word.
Buddhist Zen mentality.
Yeah.
Kind of Zen.
Ray,
kind of,
I've got some homework for you, dude.
Yeah.
I've got some homework.
Not for me.
So,
I can't do homework. What the hell?
No.
No. It's just this belief I was thinking about that I had just stumbled over talking with my stepmother this weekend. There's this Native American philosophy, Ray, about this Hyoka empath. And I want you to do some research into it.
Hyoka empath? Okay.
And I want you to do some research into it. And I want you to make ties to like some of the things and why I think the importance of just all these different beliefs affect each and every one of us individually, and how we view ourselves and how we combat illnesses and stuff like that within our own minds and stuff. And I want you to like look at that, because just the way you're sitting here thinking, even though on the outside it may seem like it's ADD, but on the inside it may be something else that makes you different from other people. And with one of these things that I was doing some research into about this empath is that they're constantly thinking about what to say, because they're constantly thinking about other people and just the way that they've affected their lives, and that's what clouds their thoughts. And they're like, I don't mean to interrupt you, but I'm going to forget what I say if I don't do it right now. And it's not like being rude or anything. It's just like, and we do it to each other all the time. We're constantly like, damn it, go, you go. And then I'm always thinking, like, Ray always forgets what he says.
Dude, I have like, the problem is I'll have one thought that will quickly be followed by 3 other thoughts that each in their own right are worth a conversation. And that's why
I want you to like read into this, because
I'll check it out.
Like it's gonna, like, even if it doesn't, even if you don't relate to it, it's
Mhm.
still going to be like, wow, like this is an actual belief. And it's kind of like something that makes you powerful in your own way.
Yeah. Oh, and I mean, I use self-deprecating humor a lot, but at
Oh,
the end
heck
of the
yeah.
day, at the end of the day, man, I would not want to not be ADHD.
Yeah.
Because I have a combination.
Yeah.
So I have ADHD and what was old ADD. So I have the distractibility and kind of the hyperactiveness.
Yeah.
You know, and yeah, there's people out there who don't believe it, and I'm sorry, you can go fuck off. But no, I mean, I can't imagine not having it. Like, don't get me wrong, like it was a struggle in my past,
Mm-hmm.
and it was a serious life hurdle that I had to overcome. But now that I've overcome it and I'm older, I mean, I see it as this like gift, dude, an absolute gift
Yeah.
that has allowed me to maintain youthfulness to a degree that my peers are not able to be able to see things differently, to have an imagination that just is nonstop.
Dude,
I
I
mean,
can't
yeah,
wait.
no,
I
I
can't
and
wait for
so
you to do this.
I hope I don't sound too pessimistic, but I definitely will check this out, man, because you know, especially working in higher education, I've run into so many people who have had ADHD, ADD, and it's like, oh my God, my brother in arms. Together we will win this fight, you know?
And then
What's it
it's
called
gonna be
again, Kyle?
so
I'm gonna
cool.
write it down.
Hyoka. So
Hyoka.
it's HeyokA.
HeyokA.
Yeah, and then it's going to be empath after that.
Mhm.
And it's super cool, Ray, because everything you're saying about ADHD is something different to another culture.
Oh yeah.
So what you're saying right now is everything that they're writing down that is just a part of you. It's not a problem. It's not an issue. It's something to bring out in yourself and be okay with.
Oh yeah.
And this is what's so cool about what you're saying right now is just the coincidences in life are just so cool. And it's just like everything you're saying is just like relating back to the struggles I'm going through in my life and like the issues that have been brought up recently. And it's just like, you're just sitting here and you can either choose to believe you have an issue like ADHD, which people do growing up, like you just said, and then just change the attitude about it and just be like, you know what? Thank God for that, or thank whoever you believe in. Just thank Ray McClintock for believing in himself.
Our prophet, Ray McClintock.
Thank you, brain. Thank you, brain.
Third eye of Ray.
Yeah, the
But
third
no,
eye.
I agree, man. Have you ever read Viktor Frankl's Man's Search for Meaning?
I don't think so, but now I'm gonna have to now.
Dude, this is a book that it's unparalleled in its I guess the storytelling, and then also just the ultimate message. He was a Holocaust survivor, and he documents. He was also, I believe, he was like a clinical psychologist or something like that.
Yeah.
So he brought this scientific mind to his experience in the Holocaust camps, and what he like literally used them as this like psychiatric test grounds, and then extracted like this life lesson from being in the like Auschwitz.
Wow.
And yeah, right. It's like most people, myself included, who would be in those would be like, wow, what did I do to deserve this? And he's like, oh, what can I learn from this? Short little book.
Man, that's so
Yeah.
cool.
It's a very thin, very quick read.
I'm so glad you brought this up, because I was actually talking to I recently like connected with somebody online who was talking like reads so much philosophy that they have like this existential what is real crisis. And
it'll happen.
Yeah, it will happen. And so I was talking to them, and I'm just like, I am the complete opposite person of you, because of like a lot of things I was saying to you, Ray, is how I just kind of live in the moment. But I learned so long ago that there is no good in asking questions that there is no answer to. And the reason I bring this up is because when I was diagnosed, I spent so much time asking, why me? What did I do to deserve this? What did I do to get this disease? Why did I get this?
Gosh.
I dwelled and wallowed and just pitied myself for almost 4 years, and just getting no answer, and then I lost my mom to the same illness, and it's just like none of this is making any sense. And so finally I just hit that wall. I was like, what if there is no answer to this question? It's just a question. There is no answer. You just got to stop thinking about it. And
that's like the belief that
accept that sometimes life is just chaos. Things just happen. The only thing we can control is how we react to it and how we influence others about it. That's it.
And it's like you can only influence. You can't broaden somebody else's mind or actually.
You can't change minds. You can't
do any of that. And that's what you got to say to yourself is I hope somebody gets to listen to this out of our like 16 viewers or whatever. But
hopefully they make it to the full hour and a half. We've been on this for a while.
What you got to do?
They lost us at minute 4.
I know. Yeah. They were like,
I might need to do the typical podcaster thing where I clip a separate 10-minute video that's this conversation.
And then you got to just be like, I hope somebody like hears this.
Yeah.
And just, you cannot think because somebody else is hurting your life that it's your fault. You cannot think that. You cannot think that way because that's just not true. It's their own thoughts, it's their own judgments, it's their own actions that are meant to hurt themselves as much as you are thinking about it hurting you. And that's what you feel bad about is you're like, man, this person must be struggling. So they're taking it out on me.
Yeah.
And this is why I love to have these conversations. And this is why I love to have conversations with Ray, most of all. Because
I understand, Ray. You are so fucking knowledgeable. Like it really blows my mind.
Yeah, it's
like
ridiculous.
I really appreciate the knowledge.
And it's just like Ray and I have had our own struggles, and like this is what I like to do with people is just be like, dude, it's okay to be you. I don't care. It's like I just try to get it like to these people that I'm like, just I'm gonna do Kyle happy. No matter what. Yeah. It's just gonna be like, and what you do, I'm gonna try to understand it from your point of view and be like, okay, this is why you do this. And this is why I have no issues with the way you do things because I expect the same from myself. I don't like sit here and be like, Kyle, why do I do this? I'm like, I mostly ask myself, why didn't you do this? And I think that's just, speaking of, Jace just messaged me. That's awesome.
But, I love Jace.
Man, Jace.
But
miss that kid.
It's just like, man, you cannot do this to yourself. You cannot hope to broaden your life through the life of somebody else. You cannot also dampen your life by doing it through somebody else. And this is what I think friendships and relationships that really stay strong is the ones that you just are able to have a conversation like you and I did, Ray, over like being like, oh, this is your belief. Okay, this is my belief. And you're just kind of like,
you're just like, cool.
And now it's like, oh, dude, you're cool as shit. Like, I don't care.
Yeah. No, I think both of you, a lot of what both of you are saying resonates very Buddhist and very, I don't know if either of you are familiar with Stoicism. Like literally the term like, oh, like, yeah, he's so stoic or she's so stoic stems from like the Stoic philosophy for life. You should check it out. Okay. Marcus Aurelius Meditations. Fabulous.
Learn all these things. Oh my God.
Because but that's the thing. That is the gift that,
you have the real gift of ADHD. My gift of ADHD is like, I start reading a book and then I want to play a video game and then I get hungry and then I watch a YouTube video. It's like, I can't focus it as well as you do. It's more of a struggle for me. You have it so focused. I respect the hell out of it.
But like, that's the thing. It's like flexibility, man. It's like no one's born flexible. Like you stretch every fucking day, you know, and it's like, that's how you get to do the splits. And that's the same with ADHD, man. It's like, I mean, we're talking a lifetime of struggle to get to the point. And I say this, right, because in this context, it's like, oh, wow, you know, you can do all this stuff and you can read and like, you know, scour the internet for like random bits of information. But then like on the flip side, there's definitely a dark side to all of that too, right? and in that, like I was saying, I'm still like very much a daydreamer, and like I get lost in my thoughts very easily. And Will, there was something you said, like living in the moment. And I see, I don't see reading and not to say that you were insinuating this either. Like, I think the more that I educate myself in terms of like different philosophies, the more I read into, whatever, Buddhism, Zen Buddhism, Hinduism, Native American culture and religion, I actually am able to then appreciate the moment even more, right? And it comes back, it's kind of like when you study like plant biology, in like your liberal arts class, and then you're walking through the mountains and you just see this ecosystem existing, and you're like, I understand like the intricate, like, I understand the mechanisms at a very intricate level of this giant swath of land that I'm looking at, and it leads to a deeper appreciation in that moment. You know what I mean?
Gotcha.
I don't know.
I can see that. No, I can definitely see that.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've always been the kind of person where it, like, in that same metaphor, like if I'm walking out and I'm appreciating nature, then it's like, it is what it is because it is.
Yes.
It's beautiful it's beautiful the way it is because of the way it is. There's no other way about it. Understanding every molecular level of it isn't going to make it any more or less beautiful to me. Yeah, but I can totally see where, like, having that understanding and appreciation, knowing that, like, I learned this in class and I'm able to apply it in real world, there's a sense of satisfaction and being even more in the moment. That does make sense. Yeah. That totally makes sense to me. I think our brains just work a little differently.
Yeah. But I mean, you are referencing a Taoist perspective there. And
it's because I'm a genius. Come on.
It's because you're a genius.
Yeah, obviously.
I can't remember how to pronounce it. It's like Ziron or something, but the Chinese character for nature means that which is of itself so.
Oh.
Isn't that great? And that's literally what you just said.
That's
dude, right? I need that tattooed on me. Say that again.
Well, hold on. Don't write it down, because I don't want you to get a tattoo. And then you'll go to China and someone will be like, "Oh, orgies." You're like, "Wait, what?" But no, I and do your own research. But it's that.
What was the word? The Chinese symbol for what?
The Chinese symbol for nature.
Nature.
And it comes from Taoism, but it's that which is of itself so. Right? It just is.
That's
like there
awesome.
is no, and this is kind of what you were getting at, Kyle, is like, there is no reason for anything, right? Like sometimes, like, what we're experiencing in life, even right now, right? Like the tumultuous nature of society, it's like, that's okay, because like that is just what nature does.
Yeah.
And it kind of, it goes back to the internal and external, like, locus of control. It's like, that's outside of my control, right? Like nature is literally running its course in front of our eyes. Like we are witnessing the ripple effects of like our brains in a modern day society. And it's like, once you're able to frame everything in the correct perspective, like I very much think that I'm like, it's interesting that you say, you don't think I'm very in the moment, because I think that I am very, like, present.
I didn't say that you weren't in the moment. We just process it differently.
Yeah. But as someone, I think I'm to a fault so day by day sometimes. And this is where I think ADHD is a gift. Is that like Kyle, I haven't thought about that conversation we had until you mentioned it, because it literally happened, and I was like, cool, and I'm just like, dude, right? Like I'm on to like the next thing.
Whereas another person would be like, there's some research I need to do on this. There's a thesis I got to write. I'm going to interview other people about this.
Yeah, no. And
like, we love, like, something is beautiful, not because it's going to last forever. It's beautiful because it happened and then it ended.
Yeah. And I still appreciate the moments for what they are. I just don't linger on them. And like John Stubblefield, who was on last week, was it last week or 2 weeks ago? I can't remember.
2-ish weeks ago. Yeah.
2 weeks ago.
Yeah. One thing he said to me one time was like, he's like, I honestly envy you for that state of mind you have, because he's like, I will sit and, reflect on things that happened 6 years ago. And it's like, man, I don't even remember what I ate for breakfast today.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So I can get that way in a sense, in where I'll think of something stupid that I said in high school and people laughed at me or whatever. Like we kind of dwell on these like ridiculous moments. We kind of dwell on those ridiculous moments that have happened to us in the past. But I read something recently that those moments and that feeling that we have from it is good because it's a lesson that we learned.
A social lesson. Yeah.
It's not only a social lesson, but I think so, and in a sense, an emotional lesson as well, or a self-actualization lesson to where we've learned something else about ourselves, and where a lot of that, where we fit in, and like we're making alterations about ourselves, coming to terms with identity and things like that. But you know, it's not always a bad thing. I don't know why I'm talking with my hands all over the place, but not always a bad thing to dwell. Like the difference between dwelling on and realizing what happened and learning from that mistake. It's just like, it's proof that you've grown. It's a true sign that you've grown and you've learned and you've just developed since then.
No, totally.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Huh.
All right.
That's
well,
crazy.
we've been on this for almost an hour and a half.
I know. I could keep going too. So it's like, we need to.
Yeah, we could save some of it.
Definitely.
I had like 3 thoughts while you were talking. While I was like, damn it.
Yeah, I feel like if I don't cut it off now, we're going to go for another hour. And it's 10 o'clock here, so it's getting close to my old man bedtime.
All right.
Sweet.
But one thing I wanted to mention is next week, I talked to one of my buddies, Mike, who I went to grad school with. And Ray, I've mentioned Mike to you before, who is somebody that I think the three of us would have we're like the same person. We get along very well. He's been doing a lot of research on the Black Lives Matter movement about specifically research, very specifically research based, because he noticed that a lot of the time, certain sides of the argument, they only want to see the facts. You cannot change some people, you can't change their mind with sentiment and flattery. It is only the facts. And so he was like, you want the facts?
Holy crap.
I will give you the facts. And so he has just been prolifically writing stuff on Facebook, sharing articles, sharing content, working with other people I consider colleagues and went to grad school with, and just bringing research to people's faces. And has been doing an amazing job. And so about a week ago, him and I caught up. We had like a 2.5-hour conversation, not just on that, but just catching up. And I extended him an invitation, and especially after Nathan said he wouldn't be joining us anymore, I extended him an invitation to join us next week. Cool. And I think the 4 of us are going to have an amazing time. That's probably going to be a 2-hour episode. Like, we're going to have a great time talking. Like, we're all going to learn a lot from this, but we're going to have so much fun shooting the shit because he's such a fun guy. Like, Mike is such a cool guy. I love talking to him. But that was one thing I wanted to mention for next week.
And then I'm going to shoot an invitation to Jimbo Slice.
Jimbo Slice. Oh, Jimmy Gelato Pilato?
Gelato
Pilato.
Oh man, we should definitely bring him in 2 weeks.
Yeah, dude, let's do it.
Dude, all about
let him know.
Jimbo.
All right, so good stuff coming up. All right, guys, this has been an absolute treat. This is like one of my favorite parts of the week, is catching up with you guys and having these conversations. And
feels like the radio show again.
It just feels like we're all together. Like, I love Zoom. This is great. I miss you all so much. Like, I really
do.
Yeah, same.
This has been a true treat.
Seriously. I miss you, Kyle. You're like a block away, but I miss you.
Yeah, dude, same. And I just want to say this to Ray specifically, is just the struggles that we've had have really made me respect you more as a person. And it's really allowed me to like respect what we have in just like a relationship status.
Yeah, man. No, totally. Like I said, I hadn't even I learned from that conversation, took a couple of life lessons from it, and then I was like, moving forward. So
forward now.
No, I don't carry that with me
It's good to know. It's good to know, Kyle, that Ray and I serve different purposes. You and Ray have deep philosophy conversations about life and meaning, and we share dick and butt jokes. So
and chess.
And what?
Yeah. And chess.
And chess.
And chess.
Hell
yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I'm about to dive in again, but yeah.
Anyway.
Cut us off, Will.
Anyone out there, thank you so much for tuning in today. If you liked what we had to say, please consider giving us a like, a comment, and subscribing to our channel so you can stay tuned to more content. All right, everybody. Have a good night.
See ya.